You created a free online public course called Black Minds Matter.
Yes.
And it's a focus on black boys and men in education, as we said. What is a black mind?
Black mind is a black learner, a black student.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
But the mind itself is not black.
Oh, I see where you're going. That's nice. So a black person, their life would be a black life. A black person, their mind would be a black mind.
Why not just say mind and not black mind? Because because
we're focusing on a group that's
when you
not
say that
doing
though
well.
to black boys, right away they're going to think that their mind is different than the white person's mind.
So what I do in my work is I interview black males who are particularly in community colleges. I interview teachers and professors. I do survey work on college campuses, and what we try to do is to help people understand these issues so that they can then move past them. And what we see is that our campuses are rife with unconscious bias and what we call microaggressions, so kind of subtle ways that we communicate to one another that one group is lesser than another.
That's amazing. And so are the teachers, doing the survey, the white teachers admitting, yes, I asked for an ID because he was black?
So with our survey work, we primarily focus on students and students are responding that these are the things that happen to them. But I will say that I've had many teachers as part of our training say, this is something that I've done and, I didn't mean to do it. So we see from the very beginning in history that there's this unique desire and that's embedded within us to want to be better than one another. And in our society, the way that plays out through racism.
There was something called the talented 10th, where the black educators wanted to be better than the blacks who were not educated. W.D. Du Bois and all those guys.
Yep.
They wanted to tell blacks how to think, what to do, when to do it, and blah, blah, blah. Were those elitist blacks being racist against those blacks who were not educated?
They weren't being racist, but they did have a desire to be better than one another, right? And we should never desire to be better than one another. We should desire for our own improvement. Right.
But my thing is, blacks do it to each other, too. You have the light-skinned black who the dark-skinned black would hate. And so they would discriminate against the light-skinned black. So was that racist?
I think that was an example of self-hatred.
But not racist.
It is informed by racism, but it's self-hatred.
But not racist.
It is informed by racism and it's self-hatred.
What does that mean, informed by racism?
So because we live in a society that prioritizes whiteness, right, and white ideology and white people, we have a society that says this is what you should be. And so for some people, unfortunately, they can look at that and say that, hey, if you want to rise in this society, I should also ascribe to those same kind of values. And so you can see, because of this racism that undergirds our society, that some people will unfortunately tacitly buy into those ideas.
That's amazing. You describe yourself as an advocate for boys and men of color. Exactly what do you mean by that?
So as an advocate, what I want to do is to see our boys and men of color, particularly our black boys and men, become more successful in education.
In the high schools and junior high schools around the country now, especially in the urban areas, they are promoting illegal aliens in the public schools, in return pushing the black kids out. Are you trying to prevent that from happening to the black boys in the schools?
My work focuses on better preparing teachers to teach black boys and men. And what I focus on are strategies, tangible strategies that they can use in their classroom to better improve their success. The vast majority of teachers are white and women, right? And some of them are absolutely amazing. So this is not to disparage white women, right? But if we think about that, that means that the black boy who's in the classroom is most likely not going to see a teacher who ever looks like him. And that white teacher will be teaching someone who is very different from her. So I just did a presentation as part of my course, Black Minds Matter, where I talked about this question that's part of a federal government survey. And what we find is that when the focal child is a black boy in comparison to a white boy, in kindergarten, he's 60% more likely to be viewed as incapable of learning. That's at the earliest levels of education. I think that's where we should be putting our emphasis is how do we change those perceptions that teachers have?
So is that because the white teachers are perceiving them as being incapable of learning or something else?
It's because the white teachers are perceiving them as being incapable of learning. And it deals with this concept of what we call, it's called ascription of intelligence, right? Where we ascribe certain groups to be academically inferior based upon how we've been taught to believe them. I mean, what you see on television, I mean, if you think about it, think about the popular depictions, unfortunately, of black men on television. They're rappers, they're athletes, they're entertainers, they're gangsters, but rarely do you see a black man on television who is a doctor.
Matter of fact, I'm so sick of seeing it that way, I want to see the rappers and the gangsters.
I want to focus on the real issues that are at hand.
You're not telling me yes or no.
I'm not telling you yes or no because I think it's a sidestep from the real issues. It's basically saying, okay, we're talking over here about these real issues that are facing our community.
But that is
and let me throw out something over here. I mean, how come then we're not talking about the influence of Trump? But we're talking about racial.
You want to create a whole environment, a good environment for the black boys to learn, right? If you took out the illegal aliens, you took out the teaching of abortion and the teaching of homosexuality, wouldn't that create or help to create a good environment?
So are you talking about taking those things out of curriculum to create space?
Them, yeah. Don't teach that. Teach reading, writing, and arithmetic. Don't allow the illegal aliens to overcrowd the classrooms.
Undocumented students are not, I don't view them as illegal aliens. I view them as individuals who've come to our country for a better opportunity.
Did they come through the front door or the back?
Did they come to the front door or the back? Well, for many of them, this is their land long before it was ours.
No, the ones that are coming, did they come through the front door or the back?
Well, their country did have this land long before we did.
Did they come through the front door or the back?
Actually, they came through San Diego. I think that's the front door.
So when someone come in through the back door, is that breaking the law?
I think that people get to this country in many different ways.
No,
think about our people. We were brought here on slave ships.
Not me. I was born here.
You were born here? Your parents were born here?
Yes.
Their grandparents were born here?
Yes.
Their great-grandparents were born here?
Yes.
And the people long down the line were all
what
born
happened after that? You created a...
Jesus was a immigrant, was he not?
I have no idea.
He fled to Egypt, right? His family fled to Egypt.
You created a free online public course called Black Minds Matter.
Yes.
And it's a focus on black boys and men in education, as we said. What is a black mind?
Black mind is a black learner, a black student.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
But the mind itself is not black.
Oh, I see where you're going. That's nice. So a black person, their life would be a black life. A black person, their mind would be a black mind.
Why not just say mind and not black mind? Because because
we're focusing on a group that's
when you
not
say that
doing
though to black boys, right away they're going to think that their mind is different than the white person's mind. They're going to think of themselves as a black person with a mind rather than just having a mind.